It is day 2 of our little 3-day adventure here in the Chisos Mountains. We got a pretty good night's sleep, cooled down a lot. I'm glad we decided to stop early at this unauthorized campsite. We haven't seen anyone on the trails, so we figured it would be empty. That way we got to set up camp before it got dark. Today's a big day. We're going up into the Chisos Mountains proper. Not only that, but we're climbing to the top of Emery Peak, which is the tallest peak in the Chisos Mountains. Also the tallest location in all of Big Bend National Park. So we got our work cut out for us. That's where we're going. That's where we came from. I think I may have already mentioned this in the last episode, but guys, today is by far the hardest day of our 3-day backpacking loop. Emery Peak is not only the highest point in the park, but the summit is not guaranteed. The reason the summit's not guaranteed is that right below the top, when we're our most tired, we have to do a bit of hands and feet climbing. Now, from what I've seen online, the actual hands and feet climbing up there doesn't look too difficult, but it does look scary. And the reason is a fall at that point would likely result in injury. And if we fell at just the wrong time, it would probably result in death. So while the actual difficulty of that little climb at the top might be similar to something like this, the consequences would be a lot higher. It's gonna be at the point where we are our most tired. Hey, boy.
Looks like a corn snake or a rat snake. I think it's a rat snake.
All right, guys, we've made it to the Emery Peak Summit Trail Junction, all the way from down in the Chisos Basin. Been working our way uphill, I guess about 3 hours or so. We feel pretty good. We're gonna rest up a little bit, maybe get a snack, drink some electrolytes, and we're gonna make the push up to Emery Peak.
And because then you dip it in your peanut butter.
Oh yeah. It's good.
I mean PB and honey.
Mm-hmm. After we attempt this Emery Peak summit, we're going to be going down into this little canyon called Boot Canyon, and we're going to be climbing back up to the South Rim Trail. The South Rim Trail skirts this big drop off that looks out over the desert in Mexico. Handy dandy bear boxes at the base of the Emery Peak Trail. We're going to put a lot of our heavy stuff here, that way we can be lightweight going to the top. We've refueled, rehydrated. We're going to give this Emery Peak summit our best shot. There's the actual summit. Be coming up through here and around somehow up on top of that big land structure. All right, guys, we just entered a little thicket of trees here kind of near the base. I think things are going to get pretty interesting here soon. We've made it to the very last little bit. There are 2 summit spires. We're not sure which one's the true summit, so we're going to do both, or at least try to. There's this nice little notch, by the way. We made it to the top. I wasn't sure we were going to make it, but turned out it wasn't too scary. The views up here on Emery Peak are pretty great. You can see the desert way out in the distance, the Chisos Basin where we came from. Seems to be some sort of, I don't know, like meteorological equipment. Not sure what else it'd be. This is the actual summit marker. Since that's the survey marker, we're thinking this is probably the true summit. Just gonna call it quits after climbing this one. Get out while we're ahead, head back down, and finish the rest of our hike. Looks like they must have had fire here at some point. Maybe lightning strike. Yay, our stuff's still here. We did it, Steph. Emery Peak summited. Now we're heading into Boot Canyon. Last time I was on this Boot Canyon trail, there was quite a bit of water, a bunch of wildflowers, a ton of hummingbirds. So, fingers crossed. Go down a little bit more into the canyon, and that's where we're headed. A slight ant problem here. This is part of the magic of Big Bend. I know it's a desert, high desert, whatever, but the Chisos Mountains especially have water. Water supports life. We're solidly in Boot Canyon now. We definitely don't want to go towards Juniper Canyon. That's the open desert. Same with Dodson. But we're actually headed to the East Rim Trail, and our next campsite's there. We're exiting the Boot Canyon, headed up on the East Rim Trail. Making it to the top of the East Rim is our last big challenge. Tomorrow it's pretty much all downhill back into the Chisos Basin. That's Emery Peak where we were earlier today. Came down, around, up the canyon. And here we go. More or less where we're headed, the East Rim. It's the other side of the East Rim that's so spectacular. You'll see. There's a bear down there. Just disappeared out of view. That was pretty cool. From what I understand, the bears in Big Bend are a variant on the, I guess, American black bear. These are, I think, Mexican black bears. I'm not sure. But anyway, they're smaller. Probably hard for a bear to gain a lot of weight in the desert. I would think there's fewer calories and less water for a bear. We're getting pretty close to our campsite up on the East Rim. We're running a little bit lower on water than I would like. We definitely have enough to survive. We'll have more than enough for tonight, and we'll have some for the way down tomorrow. Forgot to bring my Sawyer straw, which is like this little water filtration device. If I had brought that, we could have all the water we wanted. Boot Canyon had a lot. It's hard to tell now, but we've made it up on the East Rim, more or less flat from here to our campsite, I believe. We're officially up on the East Rim. As we walk along, we're eventually going to get to the part of the East Rim that looks out over the desert. And that's my favorite part of it. Down in here is Juniper Canyon. It meanders on around out into the desert. I think I mentioned in the car a couple days ago that it was possible to hike from the desert up into the Chisos Mountains. And that Juniper Canyon Trail is actually one way to do that. And once you take the Juniper Canyon Trail down to the desert, you can take the Dodson, which will allow you to cross the desert and get back to the other side of the Chisos Mountains. East Rim 7, we made it. And just in front of this campsite, there's this beautiful little front porch. And as you can see, we're now solidly looking out over the desert. gotta be one of my favorite spots in the park. Windy and cool. I just love it. Right there is the Rio Grande. Just beyond is Mexico. So really all out there is Mexico, which is where we'll be heading in about 2 days. We're gonna cross the Rio Grande and get some really yummy food. Go join Stephanie at camp and see about getting some food, see how much water we have left. Of course, has the beautiful little front porch, but also meanders down through the trees, has some privacy. Not too far of a walk, but you know, enough to kind of feel like you're off the trail a bit. And there's ample shade over here on the actual campsite. Got a nice spot over here to pitch a tent, another soft spot here, a couple of bear boxes, and then a third spot over there. You could really fit a lot of people on this campsite, just 2 for today. The water situation, slightly worse than I thought. We got this, which we'll probably have to save for the descent tomorrow. We have this, 1 liter, and then we got whatever that is. Not ideal, huh?
No.
And the crazy thing is we brought close to 20 liters of water. Extreme heat, exertion, you drink a lot. While that's not ideal, we'll definitely survive. Trying to avoid bending any of my tent stakes. Starting to get blisters? Ah. I only have enough water to make 1 meal. Kind of a bummer, but on the bright side, it's less cooking I have to do. I would say the teriyaki is significantly better than the whatever it was I had yesterday.
Chicken fried rice.
Chicken fried rice. Right up there with the chicken dumplings. I don't know, maybe 7. pretty tired. Excited to finish this loop up tomorrow, get some water. Thanks for tagging along.